Can you explain how investing in senior housing is not just to generate profit, but also it addresses important social need, I think, in the current times, actually?
Absolutely. I mean, the need is drastic. We are currently 1.3 million beds short. There's only 44 million people in the silent generation, and that's who's currently in assisted living. But there's 76 million baby boomers, and we are not even approaching them needing care yet. We're still 5, 10, 20 years out for that silver tsunami to hit the shore. So there is a massive opportunity to serve seniors who desperately need quality housing and assistance. But it's more than that. It's also the impact that you're able to have on the caregivers. In a traditional big box facility or large commercial facility, the care ratios are 20 seniors to one caregiver.
This is the Real Estate Vibe Show. I'm your host, Vinki Loomba. As a real estate investor and a fund manager, I'm always excited to explore the world of real estate opportunities with you and for you. And today I have a very special guest, Isabel Corino. I hope I said your name right. Welcome to the Real Estate Vibe Show.
Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
Likewise, I'm like so ready to hear all about your journey, and then you're doing something really special, making a difference. And our today's guest, Isabel, she is a two times best-selling author and one of the top influence in the senior housing. As a COO of the Residential Assisted Living Academy, Isabel has been featured on Bigger Pockets and the Wealthy Way podcast, helping thousands of entrepreneurs and investors worldwide. Twice named in Future Leader of Assisted Living, she is nation's top coach and trainer for all things NRAL. That's a residential assisted living. So today our topic is very interesting. We're gonna be discussing profit with purpose, how to build wealth while making a difference. In this episode, we'll be diving deep into the powerful idea of achieving financial freedom or freedom success while making a positive impact. We'll explore strategies for building wealth through meaningful investments like residential assisted living. That's not only to generate profit, but also create real change in people's lives. Actually, aligning financial goals with social good can be winning strategy for a long-term success. And I truly believe in that, when the purpose comes before profit, it's actually all profit. So, Isabel, you have made a big impact in your senior living, residential assisted living. I'm sorry, I can't even talk today. Let me repeat. Isabel, you have made a big impact in senior housing with residential assisted living. How did you first discover this opportunity to combine profit with purpose in this space?
We really got involved because my grandmother needed help and assistance. She fell and broke her hip. And when she went to the doctors, they said she can't go home alone. She needs 24/7 help with her activities of daily living. And so when you get that phone call, your whole life changes, right? Is someone going to quit their job and take care of her full time? Are we going to get in-home care, which is insanely expensive, or put her into a home or a facility? And as soon as you say that, you kind of feel guilty. You're like, oh my goodness, I promised I wouldn't. I said I'd never. And that's the exact scenario we found ourselves in with my dad's mother. He had been a real estate investor for 30 years up until that point. So he did quick math and said, wait. We're going to be paying 5 grand a month for her to go live into one of these care homes or facilities. Or we could own and operate the real estate. She could live for free and we could be cash flowing 10 grand a month. So after realizing the cost of care and everything that's involved, we decided to get involved with the intent to move my grandmother in. We purchased our first existing RAL home And we really wanted to move her in there, but she ended up passing away before we could. But really,
Hmm.
the rest is history. We kind of fell in love with the industry and the impact that it has on seniors and their families. And that was about 14 years ago now. So it's been quite a while since we got into this industry. But really, it started with my dad and his experience in real estate, and my grandmother needing that care for herself.
Wow, what an interesting start. So, can you share with me a little bit earlier, like before the recording, you were telling me you're doing a single family homes and turning
Yeah.
them into assisted living. So, tell us
Yeah.
about that.
So, depending on where you are in the country, you're allowed to have somewhere between 6 and 16 residents in your home.
Hmm.
So, in Arizona, where we are, we're limited to 10 residents in a home. So, these are large, luxury, upscale, single family homes, typically single level. But if it's multi level, you add in a chairlift, you add in an elevator, you make it senior safe. But they're residential homes being used to house these seniors. So, the same quality care, right, that they may be receiving in a traditional facility, a Brookdale Sunrise Atrium. It's that same experience, but in a residential setting. So 24/7 care, help with activities of daily living, medication management, food, private bedrooms and bathrooms, and you're still getting all the activities and community with the other residents in the home as well.
Wow, that's interesting. So, for those who are unfamiliar with this real concept, can you explain how investing in senior housing is not just to generate profit, but also it addresses a important social need, I think, in the current times, actually.
Absolutely. I mean, the need is drastic. We are currently 1.3 million beds short. There's only 44 million people in the silent generation, and that's who's currently in assisted living. But there's 76 million baby boomers, and we are not even approaching them needing care yet. We're still 5, 10, 20 years out for that silver tsunami to hit the shore. So there is a massive opportunity to serve seniors who desperately need quality housing and assistance. But it's more than that. It's also the impact that you're able to have on the caregivers. In a traditional big box facility or large commercial facility, the care ratios are 20 seniors to one caregiver. That's
Hmm.
sick. That's cruel. It should be illegal. That is not okay at all, which is
Hmm.
why you have such pushback and terrible experience and seniors who are being left for hours and hours on end without getting that quality attention because the caregivers, they can't do that. One person cannot care for 20 people with high needs adequately. In our homes, we recommend a 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 ratio. So it's a lot more intimate care. It's a lot more hands-on. So the care is better and the caregivers are more than happy to come work for you because if they're getting paid the same to care for 20 people or 4 people, they want the job you're offering. So you're providing quality jobs for them as well. And then the family component. Many families, like I shared our story, they feel sick, they feel guilty, they feel wrong about putting their loved one into a home. They want to be able to do the caring and assistance themselves, but they're just not able to. They're just not able to quit their job and go all in on this. They need to be providing that income somewhere else, or maybe they're not cut out for it. So, this is giving that family an opportunity to actually feel good about the place that they're leaving their loved one. It's not, long hallways and impersonal staff where their loved one's being called by a number. It's an intimate setting in the neighborhood, maybe that senior even grew up in, right? It's right around the corner from them. And so it's really not only, a ability to do good and do well with the senior, but also the caregivers and then the family. It makes you feel good about the money that you're making.
Oh, interesting. Wow. I love it the way you put it, but I think there's still a lot of misconceptions around it, right? So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have or might have about making a difference in the assisted living industry while being financially successful?
I think the biggest thing that people worry about when getting involved in this industry is liability. They're like, what happens if dot, 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 right? All of the what ifs. And in this industry, right, 90% of the people will end up passing in the home. It is not rare to move into assisted living. And when you move out, you're going to heaven or heaven, as I call it, right? You're going to that next phase of life. There's
Right.
really, this isn't a situation, it's not rehab. They're not coming to get better to become their 50-year-old self again. They're 95. They need help taking medication, eating, bathing, toileting. This is end of life care. So I think people have a misconception when they start getting involved in this or they're interested in getting involved. They think, oh my gosh, I'm going to get sued all the time and all of this is going to be happening. It is very normal to have seniors pass in the home, but liability, you can protect yourself by getting liability care insurance, having cameras in the home, being slow to hire and quick to fire, and really just following great protocols to keep yourself safe as a business owner and real estate investor.
So, but how's the stress level? This question comes to my mind, if the senior passes, you know that too, that this is the trajectory going forward. And if you're seeing like one going off or the second going off, maybe in the same month or same year. So how is the stress level for the owner? Is it like you detach yourself or you get attached? You know how it is, even we get a puppy at home, we get so attached. So all these are kind of your babies, because you are starting it's a business, but at the same time you get emotionally attached with that too. So how do you handle that on the
I
personal note?
Yeah, yeah, great question. And I think there's kind of two ways I want to address this. One is my three homes that I own and operate, I spend about 5 hours a week working on them, no hours a week working in them.
Mhm,
So I, at this point, don't even know most of the seniors who are in the home. Our
mhm,
licensed administrator runs all of the day-to-day within the home, and they do all the hiring, firing, onboarding, training of the caregivers who are 24/7 with the seniors. So for me as the owner operator, it's not necessarily an emotional
I'm not
attachment
attached.
because I don't even know them. It's a name on a paper and I'm seeing that they're there or they're not there. Now, for the caregivers and the people who are more intensely in the home on a day-to-day basis, it is definitely an emotional process. And if you are involved in this industry, you do need to be, emotionally prepared for this because they are helping these seniors every single day, day in and day out, in a very vulnerable time for them. And so
Yes.
they do absolutely get attached. We make it a big priority of ours to do little celebrations of life within the home to make sure that any of the care staff who would like to go to a funeral or to a celebration for the senior, that they are allowed to go. We give them, that time, and we're not counting it against them. They don't have to take, PTO or anything like that. We really want to make sure that they do get to service that need in their heart because it is emotional when these seniors do move on. The only thing I can say that makes me feel good about it is I know when they were in our home, they got the best care,
Yes.
the best food, the best love and attention that they could have ever received anywhere in our state, in our country, in our world. Like, I believe in our homes and what we provide so much that I actually am proud that this is where they spent their last days because I know it was the most beautiful send off to the next realm.
Wow, that's nice. How beautifully put. And for your caregivers, do you give them some kind of coaching or do you have some kind of mental exercise or something for them, kind of day to day so that they stay kind of upbeat and they know what's coming next kind of thing, to cope with any kind of emotional trauma if it happens.
Yeah, we do have grief programs that we provide for our caregivers if they want to take advantage of any of that. We do give them the time to go be, celebrate, and even just if they need a day off, if it was somebody that they were extra close to, totally fine. Like, we want them to be able to have time to process that. But it is also interesting, when you work with seniors and when you work with people who are end of life, you start to notice signs that they're going to pass over. So many times the caregivers will know a week or two in advance, Joe is slowing down and he'll probably be going very soon. They'll call the family and say, we're seeing some signs, you should be coming over. Those signs may be things like talking to people who are on the other side, describing experiences, colors, things, or people in the room or near them that are not there. And all of these things often happen towards the end of life as someone is just naturally aging and, headed in that direction. They'll often say, "Oh, I was talking to my wife last night and blah, 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 blah." And their wife hasn't been on earth for 15 years. And that's a telltale sign that they are starting to pass over. So many times the caregivers kind of have that pre-knowledge that when they work with seniors, they know and understand that there is some phasing to this, and they can start to have those meaningful moments with the seniors as well. And we also do some beautiful things within our home, like capturing stories. So our caregivers will sit with the residents and either record on film, on audio, or written and ask the seniors questions about their life. Who was their
How
first
sweet.
girlfriend? Who was their, first boyfriend or whatever? They'll ask them their favorite flower, their favorite color, and all of these things, and they'll capture those memories and moments. So when the senior does pass, we're also gifting the family with something beautiful that the family didn't have before, some sort of recording or written recording of, hey, this is your senior, and we loved them so much towards their end of life. We wanted to kind of package this up and give it to you as an honor and a blessing to carry that on.
Oh my God, I'm getting chills. Seriously, you are creating a community, you're creating communities, not just profit. Like I was saying, when the
Yeah.
purpose is bigger than profit, is all profit, you don't even think about profit at the time.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's such a wonderful work that you're doing. I really, really appreciate you. So I'm going to move on to your personal experience and expertise. I know you're a 2 times best-selling author and nation's top coach in RAL, that's assisted living. So what personal experiences have shaped your passion for alignment or this aligning this profit with your purpose?
When we first got started in this industry, it was because of my grandmother. And then as things progressed, about 3 years ago, this month, 3 years ago, my father passed, and I had been doing this business with him for 8 years up until that point. And it was really beautiful to be able to work by his side. Over the
Mhm.
last couple of years, things have really transitioned for me. I was never on podcasts or speaking on stages or doing anything. I was working 100% behind the scenes, and he was the star of the show. And I loved that. I loved being able to support him in business. When he passed, we really faced a cross in the roads to say, do we just shut this down? His 3 care homes, they passed on to me. So I'm cash flowing, working 5 hours a week. I don't need to keep training other people how to do this and keep the message going forward. I'm good. But it really hit me that I wanted to be able to live out his legacy, and I wanted to be able to continue to share that with so many people, because day after day after day, even 3 years after his passing, I get people emailing me, calling me, texting me, DMing me, saying, your dad changed my life. He taught me about this industry. I opened a care home because of everything he told me. And now I'm cash flowing. Now I'm financially free. My kids are going to college fully paid for. I travel now. I bought my dream house. I bought my dream car. I mean, I'm getting these messages every single day. And it hit me, if I stop this, then the legacy stops with him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like such a overwhelming feeling of, I have to keep this going. It has nothing to do with me. It's about continuing in honor of him and really just living in that legacy to share with so many other families how they can become financially free off of 1, 2, or 3 of these homes. Like, that's it. We're not talking thousands of units or hundreds of buildings. Like 1, 2, or 3 properties, and you could be living the life of your dreams. That's pretty cool. And for real estate investors who they're not getting the numbers that they used to be getting, or projects are harder to come by these days, this is one of those opportunities that we're literally right on the brink of. So there's no better time to get involved than right now. And it makes me so excited to be able to share that with other people. So every day I do this in honor of him, and to be able to keep that going forward and hopefully give other families what my father was so generously able to give to me during his passing.
Wow, love it, love it, love it. Oh my God. The contentment, the sense of contentment that you got,
Yeah.
and then giving back to the community, that's the best thing. So I'm going to ask you this question over here. So since you've been named the top influencer in the senior housing, what has been your proudest moment in helping entrepreneurs or investors making a difference through RAL?
I love that question. I think I would say when and I've had this many times, but I think the first person who came up to me and told me that they were able to fully quit their 9 to 5 because
Mm-hmm.
they've doubled their income just on their RALs. That
Whoa.
to me was huge because so many people they hate their 9 to 5. They hate their W-2. And it, when I try to tell people about this and it's an opportunity, they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't grasp that this could actually change their life. And when somebody is able to do that and they're like, I'm all in, this is what I'm doing, that to me is just such a heartfelt moment. And I'm so proud to help not just know that they're helping seniors and they're helping caregivers and they're helping a bunch of people, but that I was able to help them. This opportunity helped them too, because so many people do get into this for others. I'm into this for others too, the investors who I want to be able to break free of whatever they don't want to be doing anymore as well.
Yeah, that's true. But I think you were initially, you mentioned you got into this because of your grandmother. So it was for yourself. So when
Yeah.
your glass got full, then you started pouring out. I think that's the best way to do it. Because
Yeah.
when you're full, then you're pouring out, you can do much more. You can make a bigger difference
Yes.
versus, you just like just worrying about yourself. And I just feel like you're coming from a place of contentment. That's why
Mm.
you can just see things differently than others. So I'm going to go back to from the very beginning, when you started into this thing. So there might be a bunch of challenges that you went through. You talk about your grandma, and then I'm sorry to hear about your dad later on. He was the stronger pillar in your life to get this started. So share with us, what kind of challenges did you face when you started this, or take us through your journey from conception to completion, like one project. How would that work? The kind of teaching that you share with your students in the classroom.
Yeah. So when you first get started, there's really four ways to get involved. One is leasing a home to use for this. So someone else owns the real estate, they've got it retrofit, and you're going to lease it from them to operate the business.
Mhm.
The second way is buying a single family home and converting it to become. The third way is buying land and custom building from the ground up. And the fourth way is buying an existing RAL home, that one that's already up and running. So that's the first way we got started. We bought an existing one. The other two homes were single family homes we converted to become. So,
Mhm.
with the first one, buying an existing business, there's a lot of pros and cons to that. But one of the biggest challenges that we faced was the staff. The staff who was there when you're buying the business, most of the times the seller is saying, the staff is going to stay and they're going to be amazing and they're going to work for you. And that is not what
Mhm.
happened at all, right? They wanted to either leave and go work with her at another facility or home, or they were not the right fit for the culture I was trying to create and bring into the home. And so the staff was always a challenge. I always say the number one issue in any business is people,
People.
because
Mhm.
if business was just paperwork, we'd all love it. It would be a whole
That's
lot
true.
easier. It's
That's
nice
true.
and clean and cut and black and white, but people, there's a lot of nuances with people. And so it's important that, you're being mindful of that. So taking over a business, staffing was definitely a big challenge. We ended up having to clean house and get all of the staff out and rehire everyone and recreate the culture and recreate the core values and the tone that we wanted in the home. In the end, it was a benefit, but it was a big mess while we were going through it.
But you made it through, right? And that didn't
Made
stop
it
you.
through.
Made it through. Oh my God. And then is somebody just starting, like you said, I know I went to this conference back in September. Yeah, in September. So I met few people and they were like young girls, and I think one of them was nurse too. They were like really interested in the senior living. And like, okay, do you have any project? I say, yeah, I have my own that's just like ground up that I
Yeah.
did it with my friend. And I'm not just like a really, really active investor in that either. So my role is more like a passive. But I do know somebody who runs it actively, and then I can connect you with that person. But they're like really, really interested in doing that, like supercharged, like they are just saying, I do not know what they're saying or what their perception is or the vision is. But what kind of advice would you give to somebody who is like really, really enthusiastic to get started day one. Like, some of the pros and cons and be cautious about it. And so that it goes like really smoothly for them.
I think the number one thing to be aware of is you really don't want to go buy the house right away. That's not the first step. Some people think, let me buy the home or buy the land and I'll just get started right there and we'll figure it out along the way. There's a lot of work that needs to be done before that, which includes things like your internal feasibility study, determining how many seniors are in that area, how many beds already exist, are there a lot of vacancies, what are the rates that they're calling for in this area, what are the projected number of seniors in the next 5, 10, 20 years. We really need to do that market research to determine if it's a right fit or not. You also want to do demographic research, determining if the area has a majority population of people who are 50 to 70 years old, upper middle class, making 2 times the median income, homeowners, and college grads. That is not the senior moving in. That's the
Mhm,
adult child of the person
mhm,
moving in. The adult
mhm.
child is typically the ones making the financial decisions at that point. They do not want to drive 45 minutes outside of town to go drop mom off at the care home. No, they want to drive 5 minutes on their way home from work. So the closer to them, the better. So they are your key to marketing and determining where to do this. So, an internal feasibility study to see if the market can bear it. You need to do your demographic research. And then the third thing to look for is zoning. You need to find out what is allowed in regards to how many residents, what square footage, do you need fire suppression? How close to ADA compliance do you need? Because many of these you don't need to be ADA compliant, but you need to be close to it. So, figuring out all of the rules of the game. Do you need a special permit or a variance? Is there an HOA? Are there rules around that? All of that is going to be really important. Then you can start shopping for the home. A lot of people come and they're like, I've got this home or I want to make this work. Okay, you've got to do these steps before because you don't want to be wasting all your money renovating a home and getting it to market and there's no seniors in that area, or there's no daughter Judy's who can afford it, or the zoning and variance was all wrong and now you're wasting a lot more time having to jump through hoops that are unnecessary. So to save you time, energy, money, and resources, doing those steps up front are going to be key to success.
Mm, that's good. Wow. So you gotta know the market, the location, the area, and everything. You gotta research all that before even get started and do your homework first. I love that. So
Yeah.
since you're talking about the market, anyways, let's talk about the market trends. With
Yeah.
this senior population growing rapidly, I hear that every time my friend is in senior living, he says, every day 10,000 people are turning senior. It's a silver tsunami already. So, what do you see as the biggest opportunity for the investors looking to get into this assisted living space? You think is gonna kind of is gonna be even better asset class than the multifamily or the other asset classes at one point?
Yeah, the cost of care alone has gone up 87% over the last 20 years. And we haven't even started to, get into that silver tsunami. The boomers aren't into assisted living yet. So the cost of care is astronomically increasing. Just in the next 20 years, it's going to go up so much more than that 87%. I think we're going to be seeing multiple hundreds percent because there are not enough beds. We are very, very limited on beds. NIC is projecting we're only adding 50,000 beds per year. That is not enough. So, not only do I see when I see a crisis, I see an opportunity if we fix the crisis. So this is a crisis. Senior housing is a crisis in our country, and there is no way we can deny that. There is not enough
I
beds, there's
know.
not enough money to support the seniors who cannot afford assisted living. We focus only on private pay, but there's a lot of seniors that can't afford private pay that are going to be out of luck, and it's not going to be very pretty because there's no funding to support them. So we have a funding issue, we have a housing issue, we've got a lot of issues. And so I think that this is the best time ever to get into this industry. Like if we had a crystal ball that could tell us what the future holds, to me, it has senior housing written all over it. If you don't want to get involved on the real estate side, get involved in some way. Medical beds, adult diapers, tech, anything that has to do with what the seniors will need is going to skyrocket over the next 20 years. So this is one of those big opportunities that if you get in now, that you will be very grateful when you get a sell off at the peak in 20 years. That's going to be a beautiful thing. So I think it's an opportunity of a lifetime if you ride the wave appropriately and get involved now. That's the key.
Wow. I mean, I kind of agree with you because I think we have the very older population in US compared to a lot of other countries. I'm from India, and I know that India population is the youngest population. Almost, I think they're the number one in the youngest population in the world at this
Wow.
current time. And US, I think our population is just like mostly seniors, or people are turning seniors sooner
Yep.
than later. So we're gonna have more aging population over the coming years. But I wanted to ask you this question. Your project is it like long-term projects, or do you do like short-term? What is the timeline for your projects from the investor perspective?
Yeah, so we own and operate the real estate and the business on all three of the care homes. So we purchased the first one about 14 years ago and the other two about 12 years ago. We've been holding on to them all this time. They cash flow each between 10 and our highest end one cash flow is about 17,000 a month. So 10, about 12, and then 17. So those three homes, our family's plan is to hold on to them. Not only will the real estate continue to appreciate, they continue to cash flow. And so we like to continue to put, efforts into them to keep them updated, keep them fresh, continue marketing them. And now we've taken a different approach, which is starting to invest in other people's projects. Because I teach and train on this, I get about 150 people who I'm sharing with this method every 8 weeks in our 3-day training in Phoenix, Arizona. So many of them leave that training, go out, get a deal, and then they're looking for investors. So many times I'm investing on their deals as well. I think we have over 50 different investments now across the country with different students' care homes. Making that happen. So there's a lot of ways to get involved, whether it's a real estate play, an operations play, or just simply a money play. You're just being a private lender or JV partner on a deal. And all of the deals are structured differently. So I'm getting money back differently on all of them, percentage ownership set up differently. It's all deal dependent. But my personal three care homes, my plan is to continue those as long as I can, live in one when I need it for free, have my mom live in one when she needs it for free, and to pass those to my son so he can continue cash flowing the rest of his life as well.
So those you own 100% yourself, right?
Yeah.
Your three facilities. And when you're investing with others, those are like long-term investments too, like a perpetual kind of cash flow, or is like there's a kind of exit strategy as well? I wanted to understand the exit strategy. If any of the investors wanted to embrace this, wanted to invest in something like this, what is the exit strategy for them, or therefore they're for long haul?
If they're being a private lender, it's usually that 3 to 5 year timeline. So whoever has the deal is presenting it, whatever they're looking for. So if it is a private lender, it may be, hey, in 5 years and you're getting it back, or we're doing, quarterlies or different things of that nature. Other people, we have deals where we own a percentage of their business. So we're getting profit share every single month indefinitely until they sell. And when they sell, we'll also get a piece of that profit. So it
Mhm.
really depends how the deal is structured, and depends how much you're putting up, what percent they want to give to you. But it could be profit share and ownership, or it could be a private lending situation where you're getting your money back in X amount of years based on whatever contract you've signed.
Interesting. Oh my God, I love this conversation. This is like so eye-opening.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
so I wanted to ask you this question, kind of last question for me. What advice would you have for the investors, or if somebody's looking to just start as an active investor or a business kind of thing?
Honestly, I would say just get started. Like, do your
Started.
research, but get started. Time is of the essence, and there is no better time than to jump in right now. I think this is going to be somewhat similar to Airbnb in that if 20 years ago someone pitched to you Airbnb and you got involved, you could have got out at a really nice time. But now people are like, Airbnb, that's no, that's a terrible investment strategy, right? So I feel like that's where we are with RAL, where it's amazing right now. And those who wait 10, 20 years, it's not going to be nearly as good. The market will have a lot more people already getting involved. And maybe we will have solved the crisis of senior housing. I don't know. But I think that timing is everything. And there's no better time than literally right now.
Yeah, but there's multiple categories too. I just remembered in the senior living housing too, right? There's like senior living houses, like you do the single family homes, and there is like senior community where people live themselves, they're doing everything themselves, and there is senior living facilities, single family versus multifamily, where multiple people are housed and they're still getting their food or whatever the amenities are needed, everything is done. And then there is assisted living too, right? So
So
where
this is assisted
this is
living
assisted living, okay.
in a residential setting. They also have this in multifamily type options, right?
Hmm.
So those larger
Hmm.
commercials. But yes, there is memory care as well.
It is,
There
okay.
is skilled nursing facilities. So doctors, IVs, gurneys, that's like most residents there are paying ten to $15,000 a month. There's nursing care, which is also medical and higher need. And then on the low end, what you were talking about earlier was independent living, so Golden Gate
Independent.
style. So there's are a lot of ranges of this, and all are important and all need attention. We're focused on in the middle, assisted living. So you need help with 3 to 5 ADLs by the time you move into assisted living. The average stay is 3.5 years. The only reason you're leaving assisted living is because you're going into nursing home or skilled nursing, or you're passing on. There's really no other way. In assisted living, you're either in just assisted living or assisted living with memory care. It's the same thing. And so we can offer both in our homes, just like you can offer in your large facilities as well.
Thank you for explaining that because I wanted our viewers to understand that. And this is like very specialized niche that you are serving. So thank you
Yes.
so much. So share one golden nugget with my audience. It could
Golden
be anything. Mhm.
Okay. Golden nugget. Let's see. Well, I think our phrase is to do good and do well. So if there is a calling in your heart where you want to make money, but you also want to feel good about it, like money coming in and out doesn't mean anything to you anymore, maybe look into something like this. Do good and do well.
I love that. Do good and do well. Awesome. So this brings us to a rapid fire round. I'm going
Okay,
to ask you 5 questions. You're going to answer in one word or one sentence only. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. The first question is, what is one of the most important thing that you've learned in your life, and how did your life change after learning it?
Hmm. That's hard to answer in one word.
And one sentence is good
One
too.
sentence. Okay. Um, And how did my life change after learning it? Hmm. This is not about assisted living, but this is my answer. No one cares about you as much as you care about you.
I love
It's
that.
changed my life because I think that a lot of people walk around thinking the world revolves around them, and it does not.
Yeah, that's the enlightening thing right there, because it's a moment of enlightenment if you're listening to it. And this is 100% true, whatever you said. So share with me one good book that you like to recommend to my audience.
5 a.m. Club. I love that book.
Ooh, I like that. In one word, what does life mean to you?
Hmm. Love.
Oh, that's a good one. There's only three things in life, right? Love, peace, and happiness.
I love it. There you go.
So, what is your biggest passion?
Senior housing.
I love that. If you could turn back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you tell yourself and why?
Hmm. You are worthy. And I would tell myself that because I think so many times, especially as women, we are being told to make ourselves small and we are told to not be everything that we are. We're too much, or we're not worthy, or we're not deserving. And I think that every woman needs to hear that message that you are worthy.
I love that. Oh my God, that's the best thing that anybody can ever say. Just break all the limitations and find who you are, and you're worthy of everything. That's such a
Mm.
beautiful message. Thanks again. I really enjoyed our conversation. So, one last thing, can you share with me how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, if you want to connect with me or the team, go ahead and head to ral101.com. It's a great website where you can get a free copy of my book, schedule a call with me or the team, or download a free webinar. So feel free to go check that out, ral101.com.
Thanks again, Paul. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much for having me.